Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. As always, it's great to have you back here. Before we get into this week's tip, let's review the goals of EQ Video Tip. So, we need to talk. Those words are probably sending shivers down your spine. I know when someone has that conversation with me, or those first couple words, it means, okay, we're going to have a difficult conversation. And if you're going to have a difficult conversation, how do you begin it? How do you get through it? And Justin Bariso has a great article on how to have a difficult conversation. So we need to talk. And hopefully these tips will help you get through that conversation. Tip number 1, embrace the 3-question rule. And these questions are great because it really makes you think about it before you have that difficult conversation. The first question is, does it need to be said? And that's something you need to think about. And then if it does need to be said, should I be the person saying this, or should it be someone's boss or someone's loved one who's having that difficult conversation? And if so, those two answers are yes. Then the third question should be, do I need to have that conversation right now? And if you can answer those three questions and say, okay, it needs to happen, then you can skip ahead to tip 3. If not, let's proceed to tip 2 on what to do about having that difficult conversation. Tip number 2, choose the right time and place for the conversation to occur. When you're going to call someone out, whether it's a loved one, a friend, a coworker, a customer, you want to choose a place and a setting where it's not going to be a public call out, because that's not going to help, and that's going to put them in an extreme circumstance where they're just not going to be in the right frame of mind to even listen to what you're saying. So think about the time, the place, and what you're going to discuss, and put that into a more relaxed environment as possible. Again, sometimes it's a difficult conversation. It's hard to have a relaxed environment, but it's showing respect for that person that you're going to find the right time, the right place to have an easier conversation, even though this one is going to be difficult in terms of speaking to that person. Tip number 3, consider how to communicate this actual difficult conversation. Let's face it, nobody likes to hear criticism, or they're wrong, or they did something that upset someone else. But there are a lot of things to consider about this, and you should think about your personal relationship with this person, the circumstances that brought you to this point, and your own strengths on how you're going to communicate it. But if possible, you really want to try to frame it in a way that helps relay helpfulness, that you're trying to help them out as opposed to you are preaching to them. Ask permission for you to share something that you've noticed that might be a problem. And notice that you might even say, hey, I made this similar mistake and this is what happened because I did this. Because you want to give the person a chance to understand that, hey, we're all human, we all make mistakes. And additionally, be sure to give the person a chance to respond and express themselves and understand where they're coming from, and for them to share the situation from their perspective, because their perspective is different from yours. Again, consider how to communicate as you go through this difficult conversation. Our last tip, continue learning. We're all going to have difficult conversations in life. It's not easy. And so after that conversation, say to yourself, did the conversation go well? Think about what happened. Did you accomplish your goal? And what worked, and more importantly, what didn't work? What am I not going to do the next time, and what will I do differently? Because these questions will help you improve when you're coaching your family, your friends, your coworkers, your children, whoever it might be. And remember, it's a learning experience. Remember, there's a great quote in the article that says, and it's by Sir Isaac Newton, that says, tact is a knack of making a point without making an enemy. So think about that. Make your point without making someone upset in terms of an enemy with you as well. Hopefully these tips will help you have that difficult conversation. So, we had that talk. Hopefully, that talk has helped you out in terms of learning how to have a better difficult conversation. Again, here's a quick review of Justin's tips on how to have a difficult conversation. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.